in the history of this country.
But then you annulled it.
We had to do what will be in the best interest of the country at that time. And I accepted full responsibility.
This book, which chronicles my experiences, decisions, and challenges during our national service, tries to answer some of these questions from my modest perspective.
What are they clapping for? Like as somebody rightly said, a host of them, they should have been in prison. They should have served prison terms. In fact, that book is supposed to be outlawed, because you accepted criminality, you accepted evil.
For almost 32 years after being disgraced from office, former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida has been playing a cat-and-mouse game with Nigerians. While many blamed IBB for the current state of the nation, many demanded answers for why he annulled the June 12 election of 1993. But to everyone's shock, the military tactician responded with deafening silence and remained in hiding at his exquisite mansion in Minna, Niger State, only coming out in seasons and when the occasion warrants his public presence, like in May 2017 when he threw a grand ball wedding for his daughter. But you all know that saying, silence cannot rewrite history or repair one's reputation. For Babangida, who is still very much disliked, this is the case, and it has finally forced him to break his silence. On February 20, 2025, in Abuja, the Elder Statesman launched his new autobiography, where he made startling confessions and expressed regret about his reign between 1985 and 1993. The book, titled A Journey in Service, was launched in Abuja and was surprisingly graced by several leaders, past and present, in the country and beyond, including President Bola Tinubu, ex-President Goodluck Jonathan, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, former Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo, former Head of State Yakubu Gowon, Abdulsalami Abubakar, among others. The 83-year-old politician equally accrued a donation of 17.5 billion naira towards the IBB Presidential Library project, which has undoubtedly got many people talking on social media. Many have expressed disappointment that prominent politicians, including Mr. President, were laughing and making donations at the event instead of treating the former head of state like a social pariah. One such person is media personality Morayo Afolabi Brown, who called for Babangida's immediate arrest. Many have also been reflecting on what Nigeria could have been today without overturning the June 12 election.
How could annulling elections be in the best interests of a country?
Don't forget, as a government, I have more in terms of information about what is likely going to happen. Stability of this country is first and foremost.
More so, the mention of the late dictator Sani Abacha in IBB's book has got people talking and taking attention away from shocking revelations made in the memoir. What did IBB confess to? What are his regrets? And why is it talking now?
What's good, guys? It's T-Code here for African Glitz.
When naming past leaders of Nigeria who are not very much liked, Ibrahim Babangida, also known as IBB, will always top the list. The military tactician who rose through the ranks of the Nigerian army very quickly is famous for his involvement in several military coups. In 1985, the native of Minna, Niger State, advanced to the rank of general and commander-in-chief of the armed forces after he overthrew the former military head of state, Muhammadu Buhari, in a coup d'etat. At the time, many were hopeful that IBB, who wielded a lot of power in the Western community and African region, would help to restore democracy and sanity to Nigeria. Unfortunately, Babangida's 8 years of uninterrupted rule were marred by controversies surrounding wanton corruption. While many praised him for the infrastructural development he oversaw during his regime, the military ruler allegedly misappropriated at least $12 billion. He is today one of the wealthiest dictators enjoying life on a low-key. Unsurprisingly, Nigerians have consistently held that IBB owes them both answers and apologies, something it tried to do recently following the release of an autobiography. In his book, the 83-year-old politician, who appears to be threading the path to redemption, cleared the air surrounding several controversies, including the Igbo's involvement in a coup that led to the Civil War, also known as the Biafran War.
Can you please give me an account of the night of the coup in Kaduna?
Well, it's rather something like the longest days. Well, no, we didn't see him until the time we actually shot him.
In the January 1966 coup, a group of soldiers led by Lieutenant Colonel Patrick Chukwuma Nzeogwu, also known as Kaduna, overthrew Nigeria's first government following independence from the UK. The coup put an end to the First Nigerian Republic, and Prime Minister Abubakar Tafawa Balewa was killed, alongside 22 other high-ranking national and regional leaders. Although the coup was a complete fiasco, it plunged the nation into a streak of riots as word got out that the coup plotters were from southeastern Nigeria. Of all those who were killed, only one of them was Igbo, and the government was also handed over to Johnson Agui Ironsi, a military general hailing from Abia State. Knowing this, the coup became known as an Igbo coup, putting a target on the back of the Igbos and ultimately leading to the Civil War. Babangida in his book, however, rejects the Igbo coup label. Contrary to what was purported in the media, the former head of state revealed that many senior Igbo officers in the military, including Major John Obianu, died trying to stop the coup. It was a terrible time for the Nigerian military. As I have said elsewhere, as a young officer who saw all this from a distance, probably ethnic sentiments did not drive the original objective of the coup plotters. Babangida wrote, "The Elder Statesman also acknowledged the Yoruba's involvement in the coup. IBB confirmed that the coup plotters' original intention was to release Obafemi Awolowo from detention and install him as president." For instance, the head of the plotters, Major Kaduna Nzeogwu, was only Igbo in name. Born and raised in Kaduna, his immigrant parents were from Okpanam in today's Delta State, which in 1966 was in the old Midwestern region. Nzeogwu spoke fluent Hausa and was as Hausa as any. He and his original team probably thought, even if naively, that they could turn things around for the better in the country. He added, "Sadly, the association of Igbos with the coup led to attacks on them across the country. In an attempt to protect themselves, Igbo leaders sought independence from Nigeria, leading to the civil war between 1967 and 1970 that caused the death of over 2 million Biafran civilians." Babangida also reflected on one of the biggest controversies of his regime, the execution of General Maman Vatsa. IBB and Vatsa grew up together in Minna, where classroom mates in Bida rose alongside each other in the military and shared a room as bachelors. In 1986, however, Babangida ordered his execution alongside 9 others for plotting a coup to overthrow his government.
Major D.I. Bamidele, Wing Commander Ben Ekele, Wing Commander A.C. Sakaba, Lieutenant Colonel M.F. Young, Commander A.A. Ogweji, Squadron Leader A. Ahura, Major D.E. West, and Major T.J. Akwachiki are guilty and are hereby convicted of the offense of conspiracy to commit treason contrary to and punishable under Section 37, Subsection 2.
According to the former head of state, he showed no mercy on his childhood friend because the coup would have plunged the country into darkness. "I had to choose between saving a friend's life and the nation's future," he wrote in his book. However, after years of reminiscing about his relationship with Vatsa, Babangida says his friend has been jealous of him since they were teenagers. With the benefit of hindsight now, I recall that a constant part of our friendship as teenagers and young men was a continuous and recurrent peer jealousy on his part towards me. He was always envious of my achievements, especially when he thought I was progressing better than him, either in school or our military career path, he wrote. Perhaps this may put to bed the widespread notion that Babangida was ruthless even to his friend. Finally, IBB addressed the biggest controversy of his presidency that eventually forced him out and ended his regime. This was the annulment of the June 12th presidential election in 1993.
It is true that the presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful. However, there was in fact a huge array of electoral practices virtually in all the states of the Federation before the actual voting began.
The election is widely regarded as the most free and fair election of all time, with late politician and philanthropist Moshood Kashimawo Olawale MKO Abiola poised as the winner.
It is incredible. In view of all this, I find the conclusion unfortunate but inescapable that the federal military government is guilty of bad faith, pure and simple.
Unfortunately, Babangida, who didn't want to hand over to MKO, annulled the elections. This led to an era of chaos in Nigeria like never before, as many took to the streets to protest, carrying coffins with Babangida's name written on them. The lingering 12th June crisis forced IBB to resign in August 1993, but not before he signed a decree establishing Ernest Shonekan as the head of the interim government.
President Babangida is a friend. If you look at the house, take a snapshot of all the pictures in the house, you will find more of his pictures in my house than my own pictures. They've been friends for over 20 years. Very, very close friends.
Shonekan initially appointed MKO as his vice president to quell the crisis, but he not only turned down the position, but refused to recognize the interim government. This crisis allowed the late General Sani Abacha to carry out the last most successful coup in Nigerian military history in November 1993. But MKO was unrelentless. In June 1994, he declared himself president, and Abacha responded by throwing him in jail. After Abacha's death, MKO was set to be released but died in July 1998 on the very day he was supposed to be released.
Chief Moshood Abiola finally came home on Saturday, but instead of the hero's welcome his supporters had hoped to give him when this day arrived, Chief Abiola was making this final journey in a coffin. It was an emotional moment for his family and the small crowd of followers who were waiting to receive the body in the early morning.
Of course, many have still not forgiven IBB for his actions, lamenting that the country has yet to recover from the 1993 presidential elections annulment. At the time, Babangida was not exactly remorseful, as he stated that he learned never to step on the toes of the Yorubas. If I am sleeping and I hear the Yorubas beating the drums of war, I would go back to sleep. But almost 32 years later, the former head of state has expressed profound regret in his book. First, IBB admitted that MKO Abiola indeed won the election that was supposed to end military rule. But he also blamed the late Abacha, who cannot defend himself now in the grave, explaining that the late general was one of the forces who influenced the annulment without his full awareness. That accident of history is most regrettable. The nation is entitled to expect my expression of regret. Babangida wrote, IBB's latest autobiography has elicited mixed reactions from many Nigerians. While President Tinubu graced the book launch with his presence and commended Babangida for admitting to his role in the June 12 saga, many have been throwing stones at him. One such person is MKO Abiola's son, Jamiu, who noted that IBB's admittance was a welcome surprise to him and some of his family members. Perhaps General Babangida was looking for peace, he told the BBC Focus on Africa podcast. Human rights activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore, however, has accused the ex-military president of using the recent launch of his book to raise funds for his library rather than seek genuine forgiveness from Nigerians for annulling the June 12, 1993 presidential election. Sowore, who made the allegations on February 25, 2025, said nothing about IBB's book standing out because everyone already knew MKO won the election free and fair.
Nothing in my view stood out. He accepts that he was the Babangida that he has always been. Maradona, a dribbler, you know, and he did a fantastic job of, you know, butting heads, as he usually is a very divisive character. And then he then arrived at his final goal, which was to tell some of the biggest lies available that he felt the country could clap for.
The book also appears to have struck a nerve for Sadiq Abacha, son of former military ruler, late General Sani Abacha. In a Facebook post, Sadiq defended his father's legacy despite criticism, noting that Abacha was a victim of envy and subtle betrayal. He then promised that people would remember his father as a good leader one day. The man Abacha, you have always been the one they envied with silent deceit. History shall remember you for being a better leader, no matter how much they try to put you down. As a son, I am most proud of you today. You indeed are the man they wish they were half of, he wrote. Sadiq concluded with a Hausa proverb, Dukwanda Yayi Jifa Akasua, meaning whoever throws a stone in the market, a reminder that action carries consequences. Social commentator Dr. Charles Apoki, who has won the hearts of everyday Nigerians, has this to say.
What did Babangida really gain from power? He executed some of his best friends, including Mama Vasta, that the whole world pleaded for. He cowardly nullified the fairest and most credible election in the history of this country. Cowardly. He had an opportunity to make history. He messed it up. Abiola was a very good friend of his, but he died in detention. This book now, is it not capable of causing a breach of the peace? What if the Yorubas started protesting that their son was unjustly jailed and killed in prison in an election that he won? They're clapping. Momo. The applause was very sickening. Knowing what Babangida took us through, I remember vividly the trouble that this nation went through. Oh, he took us through hell. My pain is that some years from now, when death will be staring at some of them who were present there, and some of them who were responsible for setting us backwards, some of them who rigged the 2023 elections, some of them who took bribe in the judiciary, some of them who carried ballot boxes, some of them who falsified results. When death will be staring them at the face, they also come and confess that the last elections, presidential elections, was won by Peter Obi. You changed the rules. You changed precedents. I've always said that those who benefited from this nation, who contributed to the rot of this nation, God will punish them. They will confess, because time will judge them. Their consciences will haunt them to their graves. Those who refuse to confess to their criminality, to their injustice, and to their wickedness, they will never know peace. Those who have kept us in this mess from the time of the Civil War till this time, they will never know peace. And any beneficiary of the rot of this nation will not know peace. I was really nauseated, offended by what I saw in that book launch.
You've said you regret annulling the elections.
Did I? I said it was wrong.
So do you regret annulling the elections?
But I thought people should understand, when you accept responsibility, He is saying, blame it on me and not on any other person.
What do you feel is the responsibility of that blame for you?
Nigerians are sensible. Nigerians do understand after taking a long time. They read back and in retrospect, they say, wait a minute. I think we judged him unfairly. We judged him harshly.
Have you ever apologized to Nigerians for annulling those elections?
I told the Nigerians it was wrong. I told the Nigerians, please, don't kill anybody, kill me.
Tell us, what do you think about IBB's shocking confessions and regrets? Do you think he has finally cleared the Igbos of their alleged involvement in the 1966 coup? Will the revelation repair the damage already done, or is it too late? What do you think of IBB's admittance on the June 12 election? Why do you think he is speaking out? Because he is genuinely remorseful and full of regret? Or is he doing this to raise funds for his library? Finally, did IBB blame Abacha for annulment of the June 12 election because he is not here to defend himself?
Let's head to the comment section to share our opinion. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share with your loved ones. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you can be notified when we drop a new video. Thanks for watching. It's Tikud here, and I'll see you again soon.